I'm Brian Bach with Brian Bach and the Crossroads. I play lead guitar, lead vocals. So the Nightmare music video all came about. It was an older song that I had written a long time ago with Steve that was in Crossroads. It was in November of 2022. I decided to restart Crossroads. The reforming of Crossroads was almost out of necessity. I worked on a recording of a song called Nightmare. It was an older song that I had written that has a pretty heavy subject matter. When I put that song out, I kind of didn't have a project to kind of put it out as, so I decided to bring back Crossroads.
My name is Samantha Bach, and I sing and dance in the Crossroads. Shooting the Nightmare video was a lot of fun. It was very cold. We were trying to do it as quickly as possible while there was still snowflakes and not rain. It was pretty great. We filmed it ourselves. Brian recorded everything himself, played every instrument himself, so then he ended up playing every instrument in the music video, which I think turned out really beautiful.
Adding Samantha, Malcolm, and Cody, and Steve, getting Malcolm, and then I added bass guitar, Samantha in just because she was dancing while we were rehearsing, and I was like, hey, you might as well come and do that on stage and get behind a microphone.
Recognize that there's a kind of beauty in having a woman on stage singing and dancing, so here I am. I hope you guys enjoy.
My name is Cody Hatch and I play bass.
I'm Malcolm Monaghan. I played with the Crossroads for about, I would say, 6 to 8 months. Played with other tribute acts through the years, played with different type of bands.
Yeah, I'm in a pop punk band called The Hello Cat.
All of a sudden, Malcolm was coming around and Brian was jamming the songs with people. Then, next thing I knew, Cody was here, ripping on the bass to the Crossroads, which was really cool.
I would say that, Crossroads is a very unique band, blues influenced, heavy blues with a little bit of rock, but very, very addicting when it comes to riffs and hooks and stuff like that. It's been a ride. I think it's been fun. Honestly, just do the best I can. Try to make the project come to life while also honoring Brian Bach, or Brian Bach of Crossroads, but in this case, Brian Bach's vision. Enriching that musical experience. A lot of, I think, influence that came from me, the Police, a lot of abstract drumming, but also trying to keep that, strict blues. but not obviously be the police drumming, but take little implements of certain fills, certain areas, and then put that into that strict, hard, just pounding away blues rock feel.
The Airport Tavern show was the Crossroads debut show back in downtown Tacoma.
I think that was Airport Tavern. And man, was that an experience. That was an interesting bill.
We actually shared the bill with Ammo Cat and a couple of other random bands.
It was a good show, kind of a small room. Drums bounced off the wall, pretty loud.
So the Airport Tavern show was not only the first Crossroads show back, but it was my first time performing on stage. Suddenly I learned I had imposter syndrome. I fell on my first time on stage ever. I literally fell onto the PA. It was awesome.
It was a good show. Exhausted afterwards. First one was Crossroads. Wasn't my first show ever, but it was one of the greatest shows.
But I will say though, when we got on stage, electric. To the point, but everyone was just bringing their A game. Samantha was bringing her A game, Brian Bach was bringing his A game, Cody was doing what Cody does, just thump and dump.
It was a good show. We had a really good turnout. We had a lot of support that night. It's good to have that kind of support with Crossroads coming back from a hiatus like that.
My name is Steven Engels, or Steven the Heathen, and I play guitar in the Crossroads. Last year, I was kind of in a spot where I needed to do different things, and I wasn't playing with the Crossroads at the time. I ended up moving out to Allen, a lot closer to the Crossroads, and ended up playing with it again. And ever since, it's just taken off like a rocket. We're playing shows a lot. Really missed it, to be honest.
I don't know if it's recorded yet or if it's been recorded, but at the time it was End of Suffering. We're kind of trying to figure out, how to make the song work. And it was really cool to kind of go from riff to, I guess was very special. Just to kind of be a part of that, little just implement there. Weed March.
That was crazy.
Participating in a political event was pretty cool.
The Weed March in downtown Seattle, that was an interesting event. It was actually a march that went from one of the parks in Seattle all the way down to downtown Seattle.
We showed up there. We were playing on this block pyramid type of thing that was set up staircase.
It was cool. I've been to that square a bunch of times, working in downtown Seattle. It was interesting to play at a place I'd been so many times.
And there was quite a bit of people out in front of us. What was really special about that is I realized we basically played for most of downtown Seattle. There was people everywhere, and they all heard that. Pretty awesome.
Doing the Weed March in Seattle was definitely unlike anything we've done before. If you're not familiar with Westlake Park, it's a park in the middle of downtown Seattle, literally made of concrete, with thousands of people walking all around you, and you've got a person with a megaphone in front of you spouting how important it is to be able to grow your own weed legally in your own home. So it was pretty crazy to play in front of thousands and thousands of people that day.
It was, honestly, one of the coolest shows I've done.
And then, but when they came, there was a bunch of people doing speeches about homegrown, legalization of homegrown weed.
It's for homegrown. Down there, making something happen. And it's for a good cause. So moderating with everyone around, just kind of being just the fact of, we're just in downtown Seattle. It should be homegrown. You should be able to do that, especially with people that have, disabilities or certain things where they need that. Or concert, or whatever you want to call it, I guess. It was to make awareness to that and hopefully bring that as a new normal, I should say. But it was a great thing to be a part of and a great experience. And Good music.
Then we played some music. It was a really great time.
And yeah, that was a really cool experience.
Right after the Weed March is actually when we found out about Malcolm's cancer diagnosis.
When we found out that Malcolm had cancer, it was a devastating blow.
And that all really hit us really hard, especially him drumming in multiple projects, and he wasn't able to play music at all for months.
Devastating to Malcolm, who had to go through several months of chemotherapy and probably a lifetime of repercussions from all that. But he will always be our brother, and we are so happy and proud to see him on the other side of this, still banging those drums.
I can't do what I used to, and that's fine. Because at the end of the day, the band gets to continue, and I'm anxious to see where they go. I've been blessed to at least be a part in that journey of where they're going, and I like to think, I hope I did my job and at least helped steer it along with Brian himself and his vision, but help assist him in steering it in the right direction as a drummer. I'm very honored to be in it when I was. Yeah, it's been a ride.
His recovery was definitely, the most important thing. Standing by him in his recovery was also the most important thing.
The real art show was incredible because I think it was the first time in a long time I had played on a bigger stage like that with people like Josh Kane playing headliner. It was a pretty special night. It was also, I believe it was my first show back with Crossroads, so I was nervous as all get out, but we got it done. It was awesome. I would probably say my guitar style is a lot of listening to Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and stuff when I was a kid. And I just always liked Jimmy Page and David Gilmour. A lot of blues too, like Eric Clapton. I always loved listening to that stuff when I was growing up because my dad would play that. I guess I also get a little bit of twang stuff because I grew up listening to country music too because that's what my mom listened to. I just kind of made it my own style, I guess. Kind of melded it together into what works.
Who do I look up to? I mean, obviously I have a pretty raspy voice, so, John Jett.
I don't know. I can tell you what bands are my favorite, but I have no idea what I sound like when I'm trying to do something. I'm sure pros would be able to tell me exactly who I copied, but I have no idea who I'm copying. But I always loved Pink Floyd and Zeppelin and Doors and Stones, a lot of old bands, a lot of 90s punk bands.
I've got to play with a bunch of punk bands like Casualties, Necromantics, Unwritten Law, Misfits, Dead Kennedys. And I've also got to play with other rock bands like Puddle of Mud, 3 Inches of Blood, Powerman 5000, Stabbing Westward, all kinds of different ranges, but looking to get into opening for more blues acts.
Since I was a kid, my dad's got me on like B.B. King, Albert King, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I've had the honor to play with some, blues legends like Bobby Rush and Kingfish, Kenny Neal, and all these other blues artists, Joan Hamath, Tommy Castro, all these different characters. But what's really cool about Brian Bach, on parallel line with the artists I just mentioned, is he is also taking almost like what all those guys did from back in the day, right? And just making that new normal and making that new age, but keeping old school. The blues really gives you an emotional, right? You attach to it some way, whether that's a lyric, whether that's a hook of a note, whatever it may be, right? Not only all the artists I played with in the past, and even when I was in the Crossroads and seeing what Brian Bach and the Crossroads are doing as of today, there's hope. And the blues brings out hope, and I think that's what's going to happen.